Joe, let's get to Texas first, and then we'll rack up Week 11. Texas absolutely abuses Florida yesterday. Here's what I'm going to say. The worst thing that could have happened to Florida happened yesterday. You announce that you're keeping Billy Napier, and you turn right around and get your shit beat in. Now, I don't know what we should have expected because DJ Lagway did not play. But I don't know if Billy got saved because of the issues that's going on with their men's basketball coach. I don't know what's going on at the University of Florida. But here's what I do know.
It's a joke. And that was the title of the video. It was a joke. But sorry, continue what you were saying.
Here's what I do know. I saw a team that was really deflated. I saw a team that thought that they had no hope. And, man, Texas took it to them.
One would have thought the announcement of your head coach returning would mean guys in the locker room, week of practice. We're going to come out. We're going to play a really hard-fought battle. And a lot of people, including us, gave them some credit for the Georgia performance. And, we're saying that, hey, their defense, they've got some good players. Their offensive line, they've got some good players. Their run game, they can move the ball. This was pathetic. This is the furthest degree of pathetic that we could have seen. This was one of the worst games that anybody in the SEC has put out this year, minus the Mississippi State loss to Toledo. This is not SEC football. It was like watching a back-end Big 12 team. It was like watching Houston try to play a football game against Texas. And I don't want to take anything away from Texas here, by the way. This is the version, and it's another one of those games. There were a lot of these this week that we didn't even really get to, where teams got chances to really, really splatter an opponent and play their best football. That version of Texas is the version of Texas that can win the SEC. But that freaking version of Texas does not show up every single week, and that is why we have been critical of them. There have been we've got some Texas listeners. I see you guys hopping in the chat, and I appreciate you guys' support of the show. But Sark's got to show up and show that product more often. 100 yards from Jarek Gibson. Trey Wisner had that huge reception that he had. Isaiah Bond had the big splash touchdown that he had. You had so many different guys getting opportunities to produce, and Quinn Ewers was the most efficient we've ever seen him. Why can't they do this every single week? That's what I keep coming down to. Maybe that's me being negative on a positive.
Twice too. That's the crazy part. Quinn, everybody's like, he was the elite yesterday. I'm like, bro, I watched that entire game from start to finish. He still almost threw 2 picks.
Man, you love to find a way to be.
I'm just saying, when I think of elite, I don't think of what I just saw. You get what I'm saying? Here's the thing that I love with Texas yesterday. Look, it's not like Florida's defensive line couldn't get after the quarterback. Yeah, you held on. I mean, you looked good. Joe, they finally found a way to run the football. Now, I've told you about Florida, Florida's DC and how he always lets teams run all over him. You did exactly what you needed to do. And you know what? You do get a big check mark for doing exactly what you need to do. It's a good check mark. You went out, you dominated an opponent. You had been playing around. But no, I see this game differently, Joe. I don't care who the opponent was. You're right. The University of Texas showed who they could be yesterday. Do they got to prove that they can continue to do it? You're right. Yeah, that's sure. Cannot deny that. Here's what I do know, though. What I know about this Texas team is if they have the focus, the sheer focus of what they did yesterday, you're right, they can win the SEC. I also agree with you, and a massive however, I don't know if that happens every week. Joe, what I would say too that I would just want to touch on, how much am I what am I doing with Florida here? I mean, you got a walk-on quarterback from Yale. I mean, what do you want me to? What do you want me to do?
I pointed this out, and I had a couple people that when I tweeted this were like, "Well, what else do you expect? Who's supposed to have a good third stringer? Why is that your third string quarterback? Most programs, not all of them are going to be like Oregon or like Georgia that stockpile all these guys that were 4 and 5 stars, but you're Florida. You would think that they would have a lineage of guys, a couple of guys that were there. Why did you have to go in the offseason to get a walk-on who was a backup at Yale? Yeah,
but in fairness, Joe, we're not expecting for you to be get at 3. Like, let's just be real. This rarely happens.
I understand that, and I totally get that. At least, like,
Florida State last year didn't even have a 2.
Well, Brock
No,
Glenn.
they didn't.
Brock Glenn's better than
the 2s
Aiden
are
Warner
playing right now. Look how bad they are. We're about to talk about Florida State next. Look how bad they are.
That whole team is bad. That whole team is bad.
Oh, if you're any team and you're getting your third string quarterback, it's going to be a problem. Just be real.
I understand that, but like, how can you not have like something? Florida State puts Kromanoke or Kromenhawk, I forgot how you pronounce his name. At least he's like they're trying to get him the ball and let him be an athlete and run around and stuff.
And like, I don't know. Florida, though, what do you, to the point, what do you want me to take from this? They can't score. And so they punt the ball away. Joe, think about this. Florida's defense was on the field for 3 possessions in 5 minutes of game time. So the beginning of the game when they're kind of stalling Texas, okay, because they were kind of stalling him. They were kind of giving him some problems early, right? I mean, the first quarter, whatever. Then all of a sudden I turn up and look and like, wait a minute. They literally had 3 straight 3-and-outs and didn't get plus a minute in time of possession. What's Florida? Like, what are we doing? And here's another thing. This is what pisses me off about Florida, and especially about Billy. Joe, they're down like, what was it, 28 or 35? They kicked a field goal from the 4-yard line. A field goal.
Well,
when you're down that much, that is so bad, dude.
This is my whole point, is that like you would have expected at least a little bit more competitiveness.
You got to the 4-yard line.
I know, but there's none of that. There was none. There was 0.
Oh, what if you get shut out? It doesn't change anything.
They're just we said this on Thursday when we taped that segment.
God,
it's a joke of a football program. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your #1 source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.